Well, hello, my fabulous friends. I hope you've been watching my past life, my previous life readings. I've been doing them on different royals on my other channel, and on this channel, I'm doing them on popular people of today, and just trying to figure out, how their previous life has carried over to some of their decisions and things that they choose to do, or their personalities in this life. And today I'm going to do a very controversial figure. I promise you this is not political. He is very controversial. He's always in the news. And I just want to figure out what is making him tick in this lifetime. Has there been some karma that needs to come over? Has there been unfulfilled soul contracts that need to come over? And that person is Donald Trump. And if the comments get a little too rough and rude, I will shut the comments off. I want us all just to have an open mind. Again, I am not American. I can't vote in any American election. I have no, I have no dog in this fight, as they say. I just think he's very controversial. He's very polarizing, and let's find out why. What's going on there? What's his soul contract? Is he living his soul contract? What formed him in the way that he is now, other than what we do know of his life? Is there some unseen forces from a previous life that is directing some unconscious habits, or whatnot? If you honestly, you're not going to hurt my feelings if you turn this off right now, if you'd rather not. For other people, it's just a great study in humanity, in humans overall. And I know it's controversial. Please don't make it political. This is just about a previous life reading, and I know a lot of people are very interested in it, including me. Say what you want about him. He is interesting. Let's put it that way. So to start this off, let's ask our forest friends for a really nice winter frequency, positive aspect. I know a lot of people are having difficult times at this time of year. So let's see what our forest friends can set us off on a positive aspect to this reading. Oh, look, a little deer, little fawn. Enchantment. Open your eyes to the beauty that surrounds you. Notice and appreciate the little things that often go unnoticed when you run too fast. Connect with the magic of life and allow yourself to be enchanted. Fawn spirit. We needed to hear that. Connect with the little things. Stop and look at somebody's lights on their house, or look at the little Christmas tree, or right? Look at that little girl who's so excited with her ice cream. It's the little things. It's the little things. So if you're new to my past life readings, which by now, hopefully not, I think I've done, I think this is my 12th one. So you've got 10 to look at. How I do them, I've already set the cards apart. I do the majors, and then I do each suit, and then the court cards. And then we go into the reading. Okay, so first thing we're going to check out is what gender was Donald Trump in his last lifetime. Was he male? Was he female? Now we're talking about the early 1800s, and they called it boy, girl, male, female, man, woman. So that's what we're going to do too. Was he a man or a woman, male, female? What was his gender in the most previous lifetime? I don't know if I've said that or not. I'm doing the previous lifetime to this lifetime. Oh, he was a female. Queen of Canes. Queen of Canes. So he could have been divorced, could have been a widower, could have been just simply single, could have been, I was just going to say barren. And isn't that what he named his son? Like, who uses the word barren anymore? Meaning a woman who doesn't have children. Interesting, that energy popped up. But somebody who's very logical, I'm not going to say lawyer. I don't believe women were lawyers way back when. But some could have been a writer. Could have been a writer. All right. So next thing we're going to do, if you've been watching, is we're going to figure out who his parents were. And the reason we do that is because the household you grow up in has a lot to do with the personality that you become, which has a lot to do whether you complete your soul cycle or not. So let's see. What was Donald Trump's father like in his previous lifetime? I have to remember he was a female in this previous lifetime. What was Donald Trump's father's personality? If it's in reverse, that means the father was absent during childhood. If it's upright, that means the father was present during childhood. But let's see, what was the personality? King of Gifts. Well, he had a wealthy father. He had a very successful father. His father lived to a ripe old age. And they were prosperous. They were prosperous. His father could have been an entrepreneur. Maybe he could have been born with that energy already in his surroundings. So let's find out what his mother was like. What was the energy and personality of his mother, Donald Trump's mother in his previous life? What was the energy, and was his mother around? Was she upright? Was she in reverse? What's the deal? Oh, Queen of Gifts, and she was upright. Wow. This was a match made in entrepreneur heaven. They were very prolific. Probably had a lot of children. He probably had a lot of siblings. I don't read about siblings in these readings, but if you were having a deep dive and you wanted to know about your siblings, then I would. But I'm just doing a quick overview here. So it looks like he was in a very prosperous home. He had a very, very good mother, a very good father who was a great provider. They probably were very wealthy. And his mother was a master manifester. And you know what? You have to give him that. He's a master manifester in this lifetime. He's even claimed bankruptcy and crawled back out of that. I mean, and not just, he had a $20,000 credit card bill bankruptcy, billions of dollars in bankruptcy. But that's beside the point. I don't want to get into any of that. We're just trying to figure out why he is the way he is. Well, his previous life, he was surrounded by money. Surrounded. So let's see. But how was the emotional part of that family growing up? And both cards are upright, so both parents stuck around for his whole childhood up to age 18. So what was the emotional atmosphere in his home growing up, in his childhood home? What was the emotional atmosphere in his home growing up? 8 of good cheer. 8 of cups. You know what? I think it would have been, he might have even had 8 siblings. I'm telling you, this would be, back in those days, that you would have had a lot of children. So there could have been 8 children, and it could have been something that it was too much, and that, because this is 8 of cups, so this is sending off to find something that's missing. So he might have left home early. It might have felt too crowded. It might have felt that he couldn't have been an individual. So he may have been like a younger of the children. But he definitely ventured off to find his own fortune, which is, I want to say. But it was, definitely 8 of good cheer. I think 8 of cups, there's a lot of, I'm getting rambunctious. But I think he set off to find his own fortune early in life. And I think it was just, he might have felt that the house was too crowded. Okay, and so what was the financial atmosphere of the home that he grew up in? What was the financial atmosphere of the home that he grew up in? Oh, 8 of gifts. I'm not surprised. Yeah, he grew up with a lot of abundance. I'm going to say for sure there was 8 children. Absolutely, there was 8 children. He actually did see his parents work hard. He saw his dad was a master. Look at that. They're holding presents, and that's presents. So he saw what his dad did, and isn't that interesting? In this lifetime, he also echoed his father's success, what his father did. His father was a developer in New York, and so is he. Please don't put any comments about the integrity. I'm just telling you, I'm just making a point. Sad I have to say that, but I can just see somebody typing right now. He went off to do exactly what his dad did. And that's exactly what he did. And also in this lifetime, his mother was a good mother. And they had 4 children. And she was very prominent in the social circles in New York. So his parents are actually echoing this life what he did in his previous life. It is an exact mirror, actually. It's like he's repeating it. So let's find out why he is repeating it. But this time as a male. Last time he was a female. Remember, we pulled that already, and he was a female. So maybe because he couldn't do that as a female 200 years ago, right? Maybe he couldn't do that as he couldn't be a developer as a female. Barely go to the bank as a female back then. So maybe that's why he came back as a male, so he could do it. But it looks like as a female, she might have left home, just maybe she was one of the older ones and just was tired of looking after 7 siblings. But yeah, there was a lot of money. There was a lot of noise. It was crowded, but a fun family, kind of crowded. Good parents, providers, great mother, always had food on the table, good food cooked. So let's see, how did that develop his personality? So let's see, what was he like? Well, it would have been she, between ages of 8 and 18. Growing up in a stable family like that, what was she like? What was her personality like between 8 and 18? It'll be interesting to see, because walking away to find what's missing. Yeah, there we go. Page of gifts in reverse. Hated school. Hated school. Would not interested in school at all. Bit of a BSer, I want to say. Right? Because this is Page of Pentacles in reverse. That somebody's trying to sell you something that's not garbage, or that it's garbage. It's not on the up and up. So he was a bit of a storyteller. He was absolutely a bit of a storyteller, embellish things. Could have had a wild fantasy life, making things up in his head, but certainly did not care for school whatsoever. She thought she didn't need school, and rightfully, in some respects, back then girls really didn't need school or an education, because they were just going to be a wife and a mother, right? I'm almost getting a feeling that she didn't want to be like her mom, though. And maybe she felt the schooling was too simplistic for her or something. So let's see, how was she like as a young adult? So this would be 18 to about 35. Ooh, Queen of Canes in reverse. Nasty. Nasty, nasty, nasty. She could have been early widowed, to tell you the truth. This is the widow or the divorcee card, but we'll get into that when we look at, oh, I mixed that up. Isn't that interesting? I mixed that up. And she came out, the Queen of Canes. This is, let me clear those. This is 0 to This is 18 to 35. This is 18 to 35. That's, you know what? There's no mistakes. There's no, well, number one, there's no tarot police, but you know what? Everything's in perfect order. If I did that in that order, that might have been telling me that she was widowed or lost a great love early in her life, and that triggered the rest of her life. So there's no mistakes. Nothing has gone wrong. 18 to 35. What was her personality like? Knight of Candles. Traveler. She traveled quite a bit. Couldn't sit still. Just really wanted to get out in the world. I'm almost thinking here, did try to get some businesses going. Did try, because the King of Candles is the entrepreneur, right? And so walking away, I'm wondering if she was more interested in starting her business. Maybe back then, you know, some of the businesses that women could start were like boarding houses, where you'd rent out rooms, which would be somewhat in the real estate market, right? You know, so maybe she started out something like that. You know, maybe starting her own little shop, a little sewing shop, something like that. There were some businesses that women could start. And it looks like that's what she ventured out to do. Normally the Knight of Wands isn't somebody who settles down and gets married. So it's interesting that this Queen of Canes, which she started out as the Queen of Wands or Queen of Swords, it turns out that, you know, did she become bitter old lady that things didn't quite go right for her. But we'll continue to read on that. Let's see if she did have a partner. Let's check and see if she did have a partner. But it looks like she was quite active, wanting to start businesses, which would have been at the forefront for females back then. So let's see. Did she have a partner? Now, back then, again, that would have had to been a male. So we're not worried about the gender when we're shuffling these. We're looking for the personality type, possibly the age. If it's a king, it's somebody who is older than her. A queen would be somebody her age. A knight or page would be somebody quite a bit younger. If it's in reverse, it's that they did not complete the relationship. They left her. And if we get 3 reversals, that means she never had a committed relationship. First reversal could mean that she had an early relationship that ended before that was even married. And then we do 2. And if that's still in reverse, we do a 3rd one. And that could have just meant that it took her a while to find somebody who would match up with her. So we're just getting the personality of her partner, and we're assuming that it's male. I'm not going to drop, I'm going to pick. Oh, there we go. Knight of Gifts in return. You know what? So yeah, she did have an early relationship. She was looking for a father figure, because this is a Knight of Gifts. So she was looking for somebody who was just like daddy. And somebody who was successful or was going to be successful. But that relationship didn't work out. So let's see, who was her second relationship? So this doesn't mean that they were married. It could have just been that they were dating, or, you know, also this is a knight and she was a queen. It might have been somebody who she liked but was in a different socioeconomic, right? This was a very wealthy family. They would have, back then your parents would have been able to pick out who you married, and you wouldn't probably dare not step outside your socioeconomic group. And maybe that's what she did here with the 8 of Cups. She walked away from that to be with this fellow, but this fellow is in reverse, so this fellow left her. So that could be why she ended up then just deciding to travel the world to you know, start her own business rather than becoming a wife and a mother. Now, if I was doing your own reading, then we go into that. Well, did they leave by death or leave you? Right? We could go in deep into that as much as you wanted. Okay. No, I'm not going to drop. For some reason, it's not. So let's see. Oh, and then we have another reversal, Queen of Gifts. So look at, we've got Pentacles, Pentacles. So now she found somebody who was of her equal. So it could be equal age, equal social and socioeconomic group. And that one didn't work out either. So now we've got two people. So now she went, she's still looking for somebody who's like her parents, but they're turning out not to be. They're turning out to be, and they're leaving her for whatever reason. Now remember, she's the Queen of Swords, and they can be quite sharp and logical and intellectual and a little bit cold-hearted. Anyways, let's see. So did she ever get married? This will be the final one. If it's in reverse, then no, she never did get married. And then that Queen of Swords is true. Oh, no, this is upright. So this is King of Candles. So eventually, yes, she did get married, and she met somebody who is possibly a little bit older than her. Also an entrepreneur. Also a great husband. Probably by this time would have been a good provider. And so she went opposite of what her parents were like. She went for somebody who was a little bit more fun, a little bit more adventurous, fun to be around, more passionate. That would have matched up more with her Queen of Swords. He would have been a good partner for her, but obviously much later in life, and he was older than her because he's a king and she was a queen. This would have been somebody, not extremely older, possibly, not of childbearing age. Also, the Queen of Swords is generally somebody who doesn't have children. And that was interesting. I said barren. So anyway, she would have been married much, much later in life. So let's find out. Was it an emotionally fulfilling relationship? Was it an emotionally fulfilling relationship? And if I was doing your reading, I'd go deeper. Did you leave them? Did they leave you? Or did they leave you by death? Or, and even this one, who left who eventually in the end? Because every partnership ends in the end. Somebody leaves and whether by death, or divorce, but if you aren't divorced, then it's one of you will die, right? So I would do a reading, who left who in that relationship. All right, so were they emotionally happy in that relationship? Seven of Good Cheer. It was up and down. It was cyclical. Some good days, some bad days, some good times, some bad times. Maybe with her being, I still think that maybe she might have been a writer or something. But we'll check her occupation out. And also if they were older, they're probably maybe set in their ways. Maybe back then, when you went on a trip, you were gone for a month or two. So maybe there was like a lot of times they were separated, maybe even due to his work. But that would have been an agreement before they got married. But they had their ups and downs. But I would say mostly good days. But they definitely had their trials. All right, so now let's see. What was the financial? What was the financial energy? Four of Gifts. A little bit cheap. That's interesting. So number one, I was going to say, hasn't Donald Trump been married 3 times? So he's married 3 times in his previous, or 3 big relationships, and they left, and this one's sticking around. And didn't his first 2 wives leave him? I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure. But this one is sticking around, and this one was married a little bit later in life. A little bit later in life. And it's definitely, they do have times of separation. It is up and down, up and down. I mean, didn't she stay in New York so Baron could go to work? You know, sometimes he's down in Key Largo and she's in New York. Rumors are always rife. They're separating, or rumors or that he's, you know, seeing somebody having an affair. So it's interesting. This is echoing in this life as well, but now he's the man, the husband instead of the wife. But interesting that they came from like she came from a lot of money, and you know, he was a good provider, but they lived a very frugal life. They lived maybe even miserly, which swords can tend to do because they aren't emotional spenders. You know, and we don't know, maybe these two relationships drained her savings and her money, and maybe that's why she left, is they weren't contributing and she was paying for everything, because remember, she came from a very wealthy family. But in this, they were kind of miserly with their money, and maybe were more so on a budget, and didn't really have a lot, you know, of extras. They had enough. They were well provided for, but they certainly weren't living in the lap of luxury that she was accustomed to. And you know, who knows? Maybe that's why Trump is a bit of a big spender this time. Maybe he knows what it feels like to live in, you know, with a tight budget or frugal. And he's like, I'm never going to do that again. I'm going to enjoy my money. I'm going to enjoy each and every penny that I have. And he is a big spender. He spends. That's one thing you can't deny about him. So let's find out what his occupation, well, it would have been her occupation was in her previous life. And like I said, you know, I don't know if she had an occupation, but it looks like at some point she had to work somehow. Before she ended up being married for good. So what was her occupation? This will be really interesting. And was she successful at it? What was her occupation? Oh, the Magus. This is interesting as an occupation. Educated, scholarly, articulate, well-traveled. Yeah, we did see she did travel. Intelligent. Yes, I did say that was intelligent. Teacher, physician, student, multilingual, powerful, statesman, highly qualified, professional, inventor, explorer, magician, illusionist. Well, if anything, you can say that Trump has taken some of these skills that he mastered in his previous life into this life. I mean, he, say what you want, powerful man, statesman. He was the president of the United States. Highly qualified, professional, inventor, explorer, magician, illusionist. So he mastered that in his previous life, and he bridged it over. It's echoing in this life. So what could have this meant if he was a female? I wonder if she was a teacher. A lot of women were teachers until they became married, and then they had to give up teaching. So I'm wondering if she was a teacher. But it says well-traveled. And, oh, the clock agrees with me. And she did have the well-traveled card there. So I wonder if she traveled. Well, she was the Queen of Swords, so definitely intelligent. Well, this says physician. I doubt that she was a physician. She could have been somewhat of a healer, secretly. But I doubt that she was a physician. Women just weren't allowed in school back then. They just simply weren't. So I doubt that, but she could have been a teacher. She could have been a teacher, especially with the swords and teaching words. And she did really, really well at it. And look at what, because she did well, she completed it well, she carried that energy over into this lifetime, but not as a teacher, as a statesman, as a powerful man, as an illusionist, well-traveled, intelligent. Well, I know some of you get off the keyboard, you're ready to type right now, I can feel it. That's not the point. Okay, so let's ask, what was his sole purpose in his previous life? What was his sole purpose in his previous life? What was his sole purpose in his previous life? What was his sole purpose? And did he accomplish it? If it's right side up, he accomplished it. If it's right side, if it's in reverse, then he did not accomplish his sole purpose. And that'll be interesting to see if he's trying to work on it this lifetime. Justice. Well, he accomplished it though. Let's see, his sole purpose list. Justice. To become an honest and fair judge. And isn't that interesting? His sister is a judge. To be a fair judge of character. To be incorruptible. Oh, well, he's not bringing that over. Oh, sorry, did I say that out loud? I'll have to edit that out. To always tell and seek the truth. To understand the law of karma. To accept responsibility for your life and actions. To become a lawyer and fight against injustice. Well, he was the Queen of Swords. To understand that this lifetime is about balancing the scales and karma. So in some respects, she did that. Well, she did, because the Justice card is upright. I wonder if she worked in a law office and could help people that way without actually being a lawyer. You know what though? The problem is he carrying that over into this lifetime? To always tell and seek the truth. To understand the law of karma. Consequences of actions. Well, she definitely nailed it because it's upright in her previous lifetime. So now let's see what's his sole purpose this lifetime, and let's see if he's living it, and let's see if they match. On the other hand, maybe up there in the big sky, you go, check, I don't have to worry about that anymore, and then you go on to do whatever you want. I don't know. Let's see, what is Donald Trump's sole purpose this lifetime? What is Donald Trump's sole purpose this lifetime? What is Donald, once you figure out your sole purpose, is been there, done that, got the t-shirt, coffee cup, keychain, don't have to do that ever again? Am I being snarky? Sorry. What's his sole purpose this lifetime? What's his sole purpose this lifetime? What's his sole purpose this lifetime? Ooh, you know who else got this as sole purpose? King Charles. His sole purpose this lifetime is to learn and love and value yourself, to make the most of yourself, to allow yourself to feel sexual. Well, nailed it. To nurture and care for children, to be a nurturing and caring parent, to work with children and animals, to become a strong environmentalist, failing, to rescue abused animals. I haven't seen him do any of that, but that doesn't mean he isn't. To campaign for the protection of wildlife, to develop and use your natural creative talents, to become a singer, dancer, musician, artist, actor, social worker. No, he hasn't done any of that. Oh, he was an actor. He did, what was that show? The Apprentice. So that was part of his sole purpose. To promote the use of herbal, organic, natural products and foodstuffs. Absolutely not. He's not doing, so he's, nurturing his parents, or nurturing his children, I don't know. You know, he's got 5 different children from 3 different mothers. How thin can, you know, he's got these businesses he's running. How thin can he run himself, right? I know a lot of them are adults now, but how attentive was he as a father? I'm not judging. I'm just asking questions. You know, does he use his creativity for good or bad? That's interesting that he was an actor on TV. He was on The Apprentice. Protection of wildlife, I don't know, I haven't seen any of that, but he's definitely not living his sole purpose. Because, well, number one, it's in reverse, and he's getting to the end of his life, so he doesn't have much time to turn that around. Also, he's not developing any of his femininity, right? I mean, he's very, very masculine, extremely masculine. He's certainly not balanced in that. To make the most of yourself and develop your femininity. I don't see any of that at all. Some people might see a little bit of it. I don't. He's a man's man. He's very, very masculine energy, very emperor energy versus empress energy. I don't know. I have to agree with the cards. He's certainly, that's what his sole purpose was to be, you know what? And look at his sole purpose, be a nurturing parent, pregnant with possibilities to have children. And we saw he didn't have children in his previous life. So this lifetime was to have children, but to be a good mother, to be the mother that his mother was, that he learned from his own mother and his previous mother. You know, so I wonder if you get to say, oh, my next soul purpose, I want to be just like my mom, meaning because she was Queen of Pentacles. Well, the Queen of Pentacles is just below the Empress. Queen of Pentacles, as she mature, becomes the Empress. And he's certainly not. He's certainly not. Interesting. So I wonder if he's going to have to come back and do that again. Yeah, he's definitely, the cards are right. There's nothing, he's very, very, everything is masculine and the material, and sure, he produced a lot of children, but did he mother them, right? Or was he just the father, provider, throwing the money? Here, what do you need? Well, this was interesting. Again, please be kind in the comments. This is not political. This is just an interesting character in our current life. And I just wanted to see what makes him tick. What makes him say the things he says, do the things he does. And is that any of that a carryover from his previous life? Just out of curiosity. Thank you so much for your time. I sure appreciate you. I appreciate you sticking with me right through till the end. Take good care. See you online. Bye for now.